Hello, and welcome to Travel Stories Unpacked, where we talk about all things, from the silly to the serious and everywhere in between. I am your host, Ashley Newton, and thank you so much for spending some of your time with us today. We really appreciate it. And on this week's episode, we are going to be unpacking Nashville. And my guest for this episode is Becca, who was a temporary Nashvilleian.
Yes.
Lived there for about 3 years. So thank you, Becca, for coming on the podcast and unpacking Nashville with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So let's just start with the beginning. When did you move to Nashville? What was that like? And why did you decide to move there?
So I moved to Nashville. I have some family there. So that's kind of what started it all. I moved at the end of 2019, which was, in retrospect, kind of a rough time to move.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
with COVID, maybe 6 months after or something like that. But I still did get to experience Nashville as much as I could.
So where were you before?
Before, I was in my little hometown of Ripley, Tennessee. It's in the middle of nowhere.
So the accent isn't something you picked up in 3 years then?
No, definitely not. I got asked about it a lot in Nashville, actually.
So you said it was sort of a small town that you moved from?
Yeah, middle of nowhere, Podunk.
So what was that like, going from sort of just like a little small town to like one of the most popular cities in the U.S.?
Well, it's the dream for everybody. When you're in a small town like that or out in the country, you want to gain that experience of being in a big town. And of course, Nashville. It was either Memphis or Nashville for a lot of us. And Nashville was just the one that I picked because of, it's Music City.
Okay, so I know very little about either one of those places between Nashville and Memphis. What would you say are like some of the biggest differences between the two?
Biggest differences. I'm going to kind of contradict myself here, but I would say the music. Obviously, Memphis is more soulful, hip-hop, stuff like that. Nashville is more country. When you get to both of them, though, you do see that there is much more of a mix than
A lot more overlap.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but that's one of the bigger differences for sure.
Okay. So Nashville's just a bit more like traditional country, modern country, all the different areas of country. Yeah. But once you go to Memphis, you get a little bit more of that
soulful
rock,
blues.
Do you feel like that translates even to like the vibes in the city?
Yeah,
and, like the whole
absolutely.
atmosphere?
Yeah, I would say even more so, not just the city, but the region. West Tennessee is more like Memphis. Middle Tennessee is more like Nashville. And then I don't have a lot of experience in East Tennessee, but it's more so, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, all of that.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So when I knew you were going to come on the show, I was really excited about this because I don't know anything about Nashville and I've never been there. But when I was thinking about it, 3 things came to mind.
Okay.
One we already addressed, which was country music.
Yes.
The other is fried chicken, hot chicken, like
Yes.
Nashville hot chicken. And then the last one is bachelorette parties. Because
Mhm.
I know that is such a place where they sort of flock to. And
It's the mecca of bachelorette parties.
yeah, and I have so many questions about that, but like my boyfriend was going to Nashville for a concert, and one of the first things I told him was like, watch out for bachelorette parties.
Yep.
Like, I feel like it's gonna sort of like take over the whole space. So how
yes.
long has that been a thing where it's been such a popular bachelorette destination?
Honestly, I could totally be wrong about this, but I feel like it was more in my second year of living there. So maybe 2021 when things started kind of opening back up after COVID. It felt like they really just flocked and took over the city.
Okay, and it does feel like a takeover. Like, I remember
100%.
he was at like a rooftop bar or something when he was in Nashville, and he sends me a Snapchat just panning, and it's group over here, group over here, group over here, and they're so easily identifiable because, I mean, no matter where you are, you usually have some sort of attire forced upon you when you attend a bachelorette party. So, it's so, you have these, the sashes, the tiaras, the pink cowboy hats.
Yeah.
So what is that like as somebody who just lives there? Like, is it really as bad as it seems with these huge groups just sort of taking over?
Speaking as on behalf of everyone, yes. It is as bad as it seems. I like to see people having fun, though. Like, I know these people are having a great time. I'm really happy for them to have a great time.
Sure.
But, yes, the wooing gets old.
Well, now, okay, so before we started the show, we were talking about, like, woo girls and whatever. But when you say they woo, do you mean actually, like, woo?
Woo!
Like, out loud?
Yes.
Just, like, midday, doesn't matter?
Constantly holding a drink, dancing. waving their cowboy hat around,
Okay.
which no one wears cowboy hats in Nashville.
Really?
If you have a cowboy hat and cowboy boots, you're a tourist. That's it.
Just dead giveaway.
Dead giveaway. Yeah. But yeah, the wooing is a bachelorette party thing for sure.
That's crazy. I thought we were just being a little like hyperbolic, you know, like putting a name to it, but they actually woo down the streets.
Woo. It's a identifying call.
Well, and like you said, like they're having a good time, whatever.
Sure.
Like you don't want to be like a curmudgeon about it, but at the same time, if you're just like on your lunch break on a Tuesday, it's like, what the heck?
Another horrible thing is if you are late for work in Nashville traffic, getting behind a party bus of woo girls, because they only go about 5 miles an hour, and they take up the entire road. So, you know, you're stuck in traffic behind people wooing and dancing and spilling their drinks onto your windshield and, you know, all of that.
So if I were telling you, hey, I really want to have a bachelorette party and I just like need to have it in Nashville, are there places that you would recommend that I could go to have my experience while also not like infringing on the locals so much?
Well, I can't think of specific places. Obviously, if you want to go to Broadway and do that thing, it is kind of a rite of passage, I guess, if you want to say it that way. But I would absolutely recommend Printer's Alley. It's about, 2-3 blocks away from Broadway. But it's a little less touristy.
Okay.
There's still music, there's still food, all of that stuff, but it's not going to be so Nash Vegas. That's what they call like the Broadway area is more like Nash Vegas because it's like going to Vegas.
Okay.
It's very loud, very party atmosphere.
If you're a local, do you spend any time there at all?
The only time you go to Broadway is when someone comes to town and they want to go to Broadway and you have to take them there.
Okay,
Yes.
so if I'm a tourist and I'm
Or you
strolling
work
in that
there, but,
area, I'm really only with other tourists.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, that's really interesting. And like, that's not usually what I want personally.
Yeah.
But I do also understand, like you said, it's like a rite of passage. Like if you're going to go to this place, you kind of got to like...
Yeah.
check it out.
You
at
gotta
least.
go. Yeah. But
do you feel like everything's like a little more expensive in that area too?
For sure.
Because they know that they can like
For
gouge
sure.
the tourists.
It's very, very crowded as well. So even as far as like, you know, drinks, food, stuff like that is expensive. And also they don't want any of your nonsense there. Like you might not see as much Southern hospitality
okay.
from bartenders and servers on Broadway. Like I say, absolutely do it, but don't stay there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Don't stay there.
Okay. So bachelorette parties, an annoying reality of even just visiting or living in Nashville.
Yes.
And then we were talking about the Broadway area, which I think, you know, goes really nicely into the country music that is such a part of Nashville culture. Nashvilleian culture?
Nashvilleian, yes.
Nashvilleian culture. Okay. So I know nothing about that either. I assume live music is really prevalent.
Yes.
Like,
so if you're going for the music, there's a few museums. I would absolutely do Country Music Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Which is, you know, very familiar. The Johnny Cash Museum, if you're a Cash fan. There's also a Museum of African American Music that had opened up that's really good. I haven't been there yet, but I'm absolutely going to go next time I'm in town. And then, of course, you know, there's so many concert venues, both very large and very small kind of underground ones. And then there's just music in every bar, restaurant, street corner, you know. So you can hear all of it for the price of a meal, you know. I
have a confession. I kind of can't stand live music. Like, okay.
Bless your heart.
Like, if I know I'm signing up for live music, like if I'm going to see a show, I'm all about it. You know what I mean? But like if I'm just at a random bar and then all of a sudden live music starts playing and I wasn't expecting it, it is a nightmare for me. Like I can't stand it. But I think part of that too is like the bars up here in my area aren't really necessarily spending a lot of time on like their sound mixing and like their speakers. So like it just like doesn't sound good. And it's just loud and I can't talk and I can't enjoy myself. Yeah. So, but like obviously I would be prepared then to experience live music pretty much anywhere that you're going.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. And it's not always country. That is one thing I want to stress to people.
Okay. What are the other sort of top genres in the mix?
I'm not a modern day country music fan. And I know that is ungodly in Tennessee.
You have to like hide that opinion.
Yeah. But there's a lot of blues as well, jazz. There's also like old soul R&B music like that.
Do you have to like seek that out, or is it?
You kind of do.
Okay.
Yeah, but nothing that a quick Google search couldn't help you out with.
Fair
but
enough.
Yeah,
it's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
Go to Google.
Yeah. But yeah, there's definitely a wide variety of music. There's a rock scene, there's a metal scene, there's, like
I definitely wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking, well, I'd be one of those people thinking cowboy hats and country boots. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I do want to know now about like the karaoke scene in Nashville.
Karaoke makes me cringe. So how you don't want
Cringy-okie.
live music, I get embarrassed for people singing karaoke.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to watch for sure.
But there are karaoke bars around that I have been to and suffered through.
So you're not getting up on stage at any point?
Absolutely
No.
not. I am embarrassed for people, and I don't want them to be embarrassed for me.
Are they like taking it real seriously though, like looking to be
Yes.
discovered?
Yeah,
Because that's how I'd feel like it would be.
But it's also that kind of serious of like there's a beer in one hand and they're singing karaoke with the microphone in the other. So it's
Which,
they want to be
of course, if you're a
discovered,
serious
but-
singer, you don't drink alcohol at all when you're performing because that like messes you up.
Right.
But okay,
Exactly.
see, like I love karaoke, so
Okay.
like I'm just a box of contradictions. I don't know, like, but like also I don't stumble upon karaoke. You seek out a karaoke experience, right?
Sure.
But what I love about it is like nobody's very good, so
Yeah.
everybody's just like having a good time, and the whole room kind of sings along. I hate the karaoke places where everybody takes themselves so seriously. It's
Yeah.
like this is not
Yeah.
American Idol. Like you're
Yes.
not. This isn't gonna be your big break, babe. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, but like it's just not gonna go down like that.
Absolutely. And I think that's another misconception about Nashville is that they're like, people are like, I'm going to move there and I'm going to get discovered.
Yeah.
You can walk out your door and throw a rock in any direction and you hit a performer,
Yeah.
or an aspiring performer. So it's a lot harder of a dream than people think.
But you do have a lot of that there.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Just people trying to
a ton.
make it.
Yeah. Which in one sense is really cool because you do get to see a lot of different styles and aspiring people. There's also a lot of history as well. Of this person knows that person, or this person is the granddaughter of this famous person and they're performing their music now. So it's really cool. It's also a hidden gem for celebrities that are out and about. And again, that Southern hospitality, you don't approach celebrities in Nashville. You can.
Really?
You can, but you try to be respectful. So they'll be out and about doing their thing. And
I would have never
Yeah.
thought of like celeb encounters in
Yeah.
Nashville. But
absolutely.
honestly, I'm not a person that like thinks or cares about that anyway.
I don't really either.
Like, is there one celebrity that you would approach if you saw them and just be like, I love you?
Two, actually.
Who are they?
One is Jack White from the White Stripes.
Yes, of course.
And the other one is Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin. He lives in Nashville as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. So, like, that one could have really happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Jack White as well. He has a record company. It was like just, I don't know, half a mile from where I worked. And he lives in Nashville and stuff. So, yeah. Could have
That's
happened.
awesome.
It didn't, but it could have.
I don't feel like we got anybody up here. Sorry if we do. I didn't mean to offend you. Okay, so country music, obviously a huge thing. And then the last thing I knew about Nashville was Nashville hot chicken.
Hot chicken. Yes, that is something I love.
What, like, did that originate in Nashville? Like, why do we call it that?
Okay, I'll tell you why.
Yay! Okay.
So, there was actually a man that he was kind of a ladies' man, and I don't know if it was his wife, but his steady girl was mad at him for being out late the night before. And rather than addressing it, she was going to make his favorite meal the next day of fried chicken. But she also added a ton of spices and pepper and all of that. And she was going to surprise him and like have it burn his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, he eats this and asks for seconds and loves it and opened a restaurant, and it was he was the one that came up with hot chicken, which was actually a recommendation that I was going to give you. People always look to go to Hattie B's, which is great. Don't get me wrong. But if you want the original hot chicken, Nashville hot chicken, it's at Prince's.
Where is that? Like right in downtown? Do you gotta like travel for it?
I would have to look it up again, actually.
That's right. We don't need to know. You figure it out. Like we said earlier, Google it.
It is in Nashville, though. You don't have to go outside of Nashville for it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
See, like, I love food. We talk about it, like, all the time on this podcast. And I have not been to Nashville, so I wouldn't say I've had authentic Nashville, like, hot chicken. But it sounds like it's almost more about the breading than, like, a sauce.
And the spice, the blend. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has kind of their own. It's definitely going to be hot, but it's that secret. They don't give out their recipes of like how to make it, you know.
So how do you do with spicy things? Are you a spicy food person?
I like spicy, but I don't want it so spicy that I can't taste anything after the first bite.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can be a little bit of a weenie about that, but I do like spicy food.
I never know where I fall on the scale because I'm always like, I can handle spice. Like I like spicy food.
And then I'm like, I can handle spice.
right. And then I'm like, oh, not as much as you though. Like that's insane. But I think I could hold my own though. For sure.
Absolutely. Well, you got to try it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to try everything. You know what I mean? So, okay. So let's say I am going to Nashville. I'm obviously trying the hot chicken. I'm making a stop on Broadway. I'm avoiding the Bachelorette parties. But what else would you be like, you know, having lived there, this is something I really think you should experience?
Okay. So one rivalry between Memphis and Nashville is barbecue. Now, I'm a West Tennessee girl.
Okay.
Memphis barbecue is going to be my pick. But Nashville barbecue is also very good. And this will be controversial as well. There are many, many great barbecue places. I love peg leg porker. Porker.
I should have ate before this podcast. I'm dying.
Their barbecue is amazing, whether it's pork or chicken. And they have the best mac and cheese I've ever had in my life. Of anywhere.
Okay. Are you struggling with mac and cheese, like, and those sorts of foods now that you're up here in the north?
Yes.
You're like trying to be so nice about it. But it's just not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. There's great stuff that I don't get back home up here though. So that evens out.
Sure.
You're
just being nice.
I had never heard of a pierogi before until I got up here. And that'll wash away all the sins.
I love pierogi. Like I'm so Eastern European. Like that is my family. That's my heritage. But there's no way a pierogi holds up to like delicious mac and cheese or a fresh brisket. Like that's just like now if you take a pierogi and fill it with that stuff, I'm on board.
We might have something there, you know.
You know what I mean? But
business idea.
Yeah. Just like put it all together. It's fine. It's totally fine. So we were talking earlier about you know, the difference between a local experience in Nashville and a tourist experience in Nashville.
Yes.
And I love all the recommendations that you've had so far. That's awesome. But you said 2 dead giveaways where locals don't wear cowboy hats.
Yes.
And locals don't wear cowboy boots.
Yes.
Is there anything else that helps you sort of spot a tourist?
Honestly, an attitude. Southern hospitality is a very real thing. So if someone is approaching you without like the, hi, honey, you know, type of way, that's another dead giveaway. You don't have to be rude.
Yeah.
But I don't know, there's just a difference.
I wonder, because like I always just hear in general, like, oh, Americans are so friendly, Americans are so bubbly. Yeah. And like, especially like growing up in the Midwest too, we have sort of our own Midwestern, like, what is polite culture? Or yeah, like what's friendly in the Midwest. But like, I feel like I would have to turn it up so high if I was in like the South, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's almost toxic. Yeah. Yeah. Cause there's a bless your heart which
is sort of a bit like
where you mean it and you do, you know, like feel for people, but then there's also like a bless your heart.
Yeah. Okay. That is the bless your heart that I think of. And I just like that phrase in general because it sort of like keeps you from saying some meaner things.
Exactly. You gotta mind your manners. You gotta be nice and pleasant, but you also gotta, you know, take no stuff from people. So
I love it. Okay, so I see you have a little sheet here because I think that, like I said, I know nothing. So what else did you... Oh, let's talk about these. I thought these said tourist traps, but they don't. They say tourist tips.
Tips.
But now I want to know, are there tourist traps? Like that you are just like, this is so not worth it. It's not iconic. It's just a money grab or something like that.
I mean, honestly, I hate to say it, but Broadway.
Yeah.
Like, do it, but get it out of the way. Don't live there. Don't get trapped there. Like, it will suck you in, and then you'll be there the entire time, wasting your time.
So just like walk, take a stroll.
Yeah, stop in, get a bushwhacker somewhere.
A what?
A bushwhacker. It's like a alcoholic milkshake. It's very good.
It does not. What do you mean by alcoholic milkshake? Like, is there actually ice cream and like milk in it?
Yeah,
What's
it's a
the
milkshake.
booze?
I'm not sure actually. I never asked that. I just drank them.
So it tastes more milkshakey than boozy.
Yes, it's a milkshake
it's a
with
bushwhacker?
a twang. Yeah,
Bushwhacker.
bushwhacker. Yeah. Get you a bushwhacker. Go, to any of the celebrity bars you want to go to. Say hi.
Oh, is that a big
get
thing
out
in
of
Nashville?
there.
Like celebrity
Yes.
bars?
Yeah. So there are your icons. There's, there's Tootsies, there's Rippies, there's
Tootsies I've seen at the airport.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. So, you can go to those, but then there's also like Blake Shelton has a bar, Kid Rock has a bar, all of those.
Yeah, I've only ended up at a celebrity bar one time, and it was in Vegas. Who's the land shark guy? I'm not sure who it was, but we ended up there because, like, Vegas is so expensive. And on the outside, it was, like, $2 drafts, so we just, like, ran in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So can you find, like, little breaks like that where it's, like...
Yeah, I mean, it'll be, how am I trying to say it? Not well known, but they make it available to you. There's going to be a sign. There's going to be something.
But anywhere on Broadway, you're just sort of paying that extra price to be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so... In general, you can sort of, like any big major city, you can get pulled into areas where they're just catering to tourists. But where would you actually recommend they go based on your little list here?
So, as I said earlier, Printer's Alley, it's going to still give you music and all of that, but it's not going to be so party atmosphere.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Another thing as far as food goes, if you like burgers, go to the Pharmacy Burger.
The Pharmacy Burger?
The Pharmacy Burger.
Okay.
And you may have to call ahead to make sure you will get in.
Oh, okay. Very busy.
But yeah, it's very, very good. Absolutely very good. One thing that I did not do while I was there, and I wish I did, was a tour. Not really like the bus tours. But they have different walking tours. They have food tours where you go from different place to place and try food.
That sounds
they
so
have
good.
Bar crawls. One that I think is really interesting. They do have walking versions of this, but they also have a hearse that they cut the back off of, and so it's kind of like a truck almost. And they do a haunted history tour.
Oh my God, that sounds like so much fun.
There's so much history. There's so many, hauntings that people say are there, so that's something that I absolutely want to do when I go back. I wish I would have done it.
That sounds so cool. I'm into a little spooky moment, you know what I
absolutely.
mean? So that's awesome.
If you go in summer, I would recommend going to Nashville Shores. It's a water park at Percy Priest Lake. Also, Opryland Hotel has a water park now that I've not been to yet. I've heard great things about it. It's called Sound Waves.
So you are a water park person, though.
I am a water park person, but more of a lazy river water park person.
Not going for the crazy slides.
No.
Or what about the swim up bar?
That.
Do they have swim up bars?
You know what? I don't think Nashville Shores did, but Sound Waves might.
Okay. I know that those are just cesspools of the most disgusting things you could ever imagine. But on a hot day in the summer, I don't care.
Exactly.
I do not care. I'm going to shower.
Yes.
It's fine.
It's fine. You'll be fine.
Just don't think about it.
No, just have your fun.
But I would mess with a water park for sure.
Definitely for autumn, the haunted history tours, that would be a perfect time of year for it. Not only with just the season, but the weather as well. If you're going to do a walking tour, Tennessee summer is way too hot for that stuff.
Yeah.
So absolutely go in the fall. Winter, this sounds maybe not so exciting, but the lights at Opryland Hotel are incredible. They will take your breath away.
I love holiday lights.
Yes.
I'm such a sucker for stuff like that.
It is beautiful to go there.
What is winter like in Tennessee?
Well, we think it's frigid and awful, but now that I've been up here, I'll probably wear shorts through the winter in Tennessee now. No, it can have its days, but yeah.
Yeah, but like if you're coming from the north, or you are
Yeah.
still gonna think of it as like a fun
Yeah.
time,
Absolutely.
a little bit warmer,
The
a little bit of an escape from the weather we get up here.
Yeah, the chance of snow leaves the grocery stores empty of bread and milk. There's none. And then school is canceled, work is canceled.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it
I
shuts
was
down.
always a little bit jealous of that as somebody that would like have to trudge like through 3 feet of snow when you'd see like, oh, we got 3 flakes and called off the whole city. The whole city's closed. It's like, man, that seems nice.
I moved up here in the first snow. I was like, I still have to go to work.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, right.
am I going to get to? I live a mile down the road. Am I going to make it to work? But yeah.
No, that is a bit of a culture shock when you first come up here. And our winters have gotten a lot more mild.
That's
so,
what
like,
somebody told me, and I
yeah.
was like, it was mild
Yeah.
last winter. Oh my- yeah. Hopefully I'll make it if we have a regular winter up here.
I think you'll be all right.
Oof.
You just gotta, dive in. Like, it's not easy, but then you get that badge of honor, and then you're a Clevelander too,
Yeah, I don't think I've earned that badge yet. Maybe I'll get there.
Like halfway there.
Yeah. And then lastly, spring. I would absolutely recommend going to Cheekwood Estate and Gardens. It was a really old estate, like built back in 1929, turned to a museum now, and the gardens there are gorgeous every spring, just full of tulips and buttercups and all of that. It's to die for.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
So, like, I wouldn't have even really thought about, like, nature sort of escapes or experiences there. So that's really cool to think about.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to get out in nature.
So it's not just bars and eating.
Yes,
and listening
there
to
are
music.
lakes and flowers as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And then since we are in Pride Month, I know
Mhm.
you had mentioned something about that.
Yes. So Nashville always has a Pride Festival. I think this year it's the 22nd, 23rd of June.
We could still make it.
We can still make it. Book our flights. And then I highly recommend going to see a drag show at Play. I've been to a place called Play. The drag shows there are the best. And it's not just during Pride Month, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm so embarrassed to admit I've never been to... Like, I've been to more, like, what I would say casual drag shows, but I feel like it was before they, like, took off and have, like, the production level that they have now. Like, when I was attending drag shows, y'all, they were different.
Yeah.
Like there was, like, no, like, lighting and smoke and, like, choreographed songs and music. It was just, like, it was just, like, a bar with, like, a runway, and then people would, like, walk down, maybe be, like, a little sassy, and then you would, like, just drink with them after. Like, it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
And by drink, I mean water.
They're still drinking water with them after.
Yes.
But it is a big production, like you say.
Yeah,
like
so I kind of want to experience like that showmanship to it now that like it's become this like cultural thing.
Absolutely. And they are, it's not just at Play that they exist, but that's where I've seen it, and I highly recommend going to Play.
Okay.
Yes.
So I gotta ask, now that you've been up here for how long have you been up here?
A year?
What is one thing that you miss like the most?
The most? Probably barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah, the food, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's
I'm a big
fair.
foodie though too. So
Same.
yeah.
And like I
I'll
think
be happy anywhere with food, but
it
there's
takes
some
a while
things,
too when you move to a new place to like find your little
Absolutely.
like local places and stuff like
Yes.
that,
Yes.
I assume. I've never moved
Yeah.
anywhere in my life, so
Well, highly recommend. I do love Tennessee, but I've also really, really loved living here too. So
well, we're happy to have you. And I want to say that I made it through this whole podcast without like adopting your accent. At
You did
least
so
I
good.
think when I'm listening to
would-
it back, maybe I'll hear it a little. How do you think?
I would love to hear you take a stab at it.
All right, hold on. Hi, y'all. Welcome to Travel Stories Unpacked. This is Ashley. I'm your host, and I feel like I'm just making fun of you. It makes me feel
No,
bad.
that was actually really good. I thought it was going to be way worse than that. I'm so impressed.
I don't feel like it was mean. Hey, y'all.
No, that was great.
All right, well, we just have to end there. I can't possibly do anything else.
We can't top it.
Can you do a Northeast Ohio accent?
I can only say salad. Like,
Wait, no, it's gotta be like, oh, I hope there's no raisins in the potato salad.
the potato salad.
All right, well, maybe we'll like do some training. We'll like train each other on our accents.
Perfect.
We'll just like take over the world with our accent prowess. I love
Okay.
it. All right, well, thank you guys all for tuning in and listening to us unpack Nashville. If you have any questions, stories, or other recommendations, we'd absolutely love to hear them. So drop them in the comments or anywhere on social media using the hashtag Travel Stories Unpacked. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of your insights and warning us about the Woo Girls taking over.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
All right. And, keep coming back on Fridays because we're going to be unpacking new topics and just sharing all of our stories and opinions that happen in this crazy world of travel. And as always, this podcast is brought to you by KHM Travel Group, a leading host agency for independent travel agents. Go to khmtravel.com to learn more.